Alright, so it has been an incredible few weeks on Amphibia. From Toadcatcher to Wax Museum to Marcy at the Gates, Amphibia has been delivering hit after hit after hit, and I am loving it. But by far the biggest reveal comes from the end of Marcy at the Gates. So let's piece together the overarching story of this series from everything that we've gathered so far.
It's time for...
That's one cool newt.
So the story of Amphibia is finally coming together now that all three girls have been officially introduced. And the fact that the trio didn't willingly choose to come to Amphibia is by far one of the most interesting implications of the latest episode. So let's break down what I think is the history of Amphibia as it relates to the girls, the king, and everything else that we've seen. Long ago in the before times, there were humans who came to Amphibia and helped the Newts fight in the Great War, using robots and building factories with technology that has not since been explored, only small pieces of which are scattered throughout Newtopia. Then there was the prophecy that remained when humans left Amphibia, of the three girls taking down a giant monster in the future, perhaps the beast that lives in the sea around Amphibia. Now, fast forward to today, King Andrias has realized that this beast is becoming a larger and larger threat looming over Amphibia, threatening his rule. So he turns to Amphibia's most magical artifact, the Calamity Box. The problem is, every time the frogs have tried to manifest the powers of the Calamity Box's gems, they've been killed. So the box's powers, which are the best chance against fighting this creature, are basically useless, unless the king sent it back to the human world. Looking at the prophecy carving, he made some models based off the main characteristics of the girls in the carving. One had a sword, one wore a hood, and he knew that they would manifest the powers of the box and be able to defeat the creature and preserve his rule in Amphibia. So he devised a plan to slowly bring them together in his favor. He told his staff to make sure that they are welcome and protected, because the king wants them on his side. So they choose to ignore Sprig's property damage and give Marcy a position as leader of the Night Watch. And soon, the girls' final task will be revealed.
The pieces are starting to fall into place. It's time for the game to begin.
So that's the story that I've gathered so far. It's got holes, but we do know that all three girls manifested the powers of the Calamity Box gems, and it's obvious that the king learned about Anne through the prophecy, as Anne has not yet used her sword in front of him, so he couldn't have possibly known she was good with the sword. Sasha's the purple gem, though we've yet to see her eyes glow, and given how militant Newtopia is, I suspect they're aware that Grime is planning an overthrow. Heck, I'd count on it. I don't think Marcy is going to betray the girls in any way, despite her holding the Calamity Box in the new intro. Oh, and have I mentioned that the full glowing red moon is framing Marcy holding the box? Just saying. My guess is that, if anything, Marcy is forced to choose between loyalty to the Newts or Anne and Sasha at some point. Oh, and let's talk about this line.
One of these days, she's gonna get herself killed. Oh, don't say that! What for? What for?
This could easily be foreshadowing for Marcy's death, or at least a death fake out at some point. With the show only establishing the relationship between Anne and Sasha as the key dynamic in season 1, and Marcy being introduced so late, I could see her death being an incredibly emotional moment towards the end of the series.
And together, we're gonna find Sasha and find a way home!
Of course, that would leave a lot of explaining for Anne and Sasha to give to Marcy's parents once they got back, but Disney shows have killed characters before. We've got a long way to go this season with 3 more half-hour specials, a proper introduction to the king coming next week, a robot to deal with, Hot Pop's betrayal of Anne's trust to deal with, General Yunen to deal with, and oh, so much more. What an awesome season of world building, lore, and continuity it has been. So let me know what you think King Andrias' plans are for Anne, Marcy, and Sasha in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on Phineas Flynn's Law.